much indeed. Sweden, there was a place called Brasset, and in that place there was a man who could play a violin, and his name was Sexton Brandt. Now, he was not a shy kind of a man. If somebody said, "You play the violin beautifully," he would always say, "Indeed I do. I play the violin extremely well, indeed." And the snow would fall, and when it was winter time, they would find themselves with a winter festival. Everyone would rub their hands in glee, smile, and to think that this woman, this stranger to the place with no coat upon her back and a scarf that covered her head, stood by the doorway and said, "Oh, my dear Brandt, do you think that you play better than the devil himself?" And he stood there and said, "Indeed I do." Now listen to me. Whenever he thought about this after that, and then he screamed out, "Oh, I am a boastful sinner! I wish in this world I had never said that I could play better than a human man!" And then the strings snapped. One by one they snapped. His bow hair was gone. It was no more use than a whip in the air. And the woman who had danced would say, "Oh, I am pleased that my violin playing has pleased you." And he never boasted again, but he played the sweetest music in all of this world. My dear, what is it that makes you cry? She didn't really want to tell him, but she said, "Just because I love to see all of the children and hear them shout and sing and play, but now I just wish in all of this world that we had a child of our own." Now Peter was very quick, couldn't stop herself. It was as if something pulled her towards this child, and she bent herself down and kissed it upon the lips, and she had to stagger back because she could feel warmth upon her own lips. And this child shook itself, and there stood a child, long blonde hair hanging over its shoulders, red ruby lips, and a smile upon its lips. They were very pleased to have this child inside of their house, and again, each and every day, the children would come and knock upon the door, and they would knock, and they would dance, and they would sing. But winter being winter as it is, the snow does not fall forever, and soon grass would start to grow. So, we can go out back to the forest. And she remembered that there'd been snow upon the ground, and he grabbed hold of her hand, and out they went. And they started to dance this way and that, one side to the other. And they danced as they went, and as they went, each and every other child would come. A boy, a girl, a boy, dancing through the streets and right to the middle of that forest. And as they got to the middle of that place, she could smell smoke in the air. I didn't say they were going to be happy stories. There's no reason why not, but I do like that story. It's so like strange. Well, we've done quite a. I can't believe that the time's going quite so quickly. But in all of this world, I would pray and wish that things could be better than they are now. And when he opened his eyes, nothing had changed. It was as if nothing had been said. He was so shocked by this that he staggered backwards, and as he staggered backwards, he found himself touching that sycamore tree, and no sooner had he done so than the sycamore tree made a branch where he had touched it, and on it there sprang out cherries. I couldn't believe it. It was almost as if that bough would break. It was covered with so many cherries. Got closer to the hall, there stood the cook, as wide as the door, as tall as the door. She looked at him and said, "Eat. What do you want?" "I would wish to see. I would wish that I could see our king, for I have a great miracle here. I have cherries in winter time." "Cherries in winter time? Let me try." She suddenly became a pirate there, I don't know why. But I've got to tell you that he'd come and said, "If that is what you wish for," and he gently tapped him 3 times upon his head, 3 times upon his shoulder, and 3 times upon his back. And Sir Cletus walked away with that staff in his hand. And who did he meet? As wide as the door, as tall as the door. But there she was. And I would wish for you and your family to come and live inside of this great castle. And I would take your sons and your daughters to cook for me, to guard for me, to be my master at arms. For anyone who would steal from a beggar does not deserve to live inside of my castle. And from that time, with one son as a master of arms, another as the king's own bodyguard, and a daughter who would cook for the king, they would all sit down by the side of a fire, and as the snow fell outside, hear the story of the miracle of the cherries at Wilton. One of the things that we like to do is we like to make up stories, create stories as well. I'll ask you, can you take something out the bag, please? You've got to be quick on that. Thank you very much, okay? We'll have this for the beginning. I'll ask you, sir, can you take something out the bag? Too slow. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, okay? Well done, you. That's David, that's you. I'm over and quick. Thank you very much, piece of paper. Okay, please. And the water, if you were good inside of your heart, tasted sweet upon your lips, teeth and tongue. But one night, by the light of the moon, there was a boy. Now this boy had a hard heart. There was never a time when he... And make sure that it tastes sweet for us both. The old man smiled. He drank. The 2 of them drank. The boy had learned his lesson. And when that old man died, the boy would sit at the top of the mountain, look down at everyone who was there, and smile when he saw a boy or a girl who would snatch things that were not theirs, who would say unkind things, and just wait until it became their turn to sit upon this mountain and help others. Said that this dog belonged to them, but this dog had no master whatsoever. And it would go to every door and it would scritch, scratch, scritch, scratch, scritch upon the door, and everyone would say, "Oh my dog, are you hungry?" And they would feed this dog, and the dog would go to the next door and it would scritch, scratch, scritch, scratch, scritch upon the door, and it would be greeted with the words, "Oh my dog, are you hungry?" Well, it was never going to refuse, and there it was. And one day it awoke, and it could not believe its eyes, for goose feathers were falling from the sky, and it could see its own breath in the air. And this dog started to pad and paw and claw its way upon all of the snow, and it did not like the feel, but it came to the first door, and it scritch, scratch, scritch, scratch, scritched upon the door, and the door stayed shut. The dog could not believe it. It could smell food inside. She was in that place, and this time the dog scritch, scratch, scritch, scratch, scritched upon the door, and the door opened up. So much training. Do you remember when I told you about the horsehair and the entrails of a cat? Anyway, and the door opened. It was a big door. I'm going to tell you this. And the old woman said, "Oh, my dog, my friend, my own precious dog." I've told you already. Everyone thought that the dog belonged to their old peacock. Oh, hello. Oh, hello, friend dog. Why is it that you are so sad? And the dog told the story of how the old woman who had so little and had given so much of everything that she had. And here the peacock smiled as best as a peacock can with a beak. And it smiled and said, "My master, my master." And all but nobody looked. And there was the old woman, asleep inside of a house, and all of them opened the door quietly. Not that quietly. And they crept inside. You're so good. I'm going to tell you, they crept inside. And as the old woman slept, the peacock dropped the sticks, right that time, and the coal upon the flames. She said, "And you have brought me an angel too." And they all sat down and ate the sausages and the fish. And when people heard this story, they would never let that old lady live in that house by herself, but they would always wish to hear the story of the dog and the proud peacock. Family, you have found yourself a good profession. And then he looked at the third son. And he looked and he said, "Well, my son, have you found yourself a good profession? And what is that profession that you have found?"
"I play the fiddle."
The father looked at him and said, You have found out how to play the fiddle. You have now got a beggar's trade. You must get out of my house." And before he had a chance to sort of stop and explain, took his bow and separated the two of them. The black snake slithered back into that black sea, and the white snake left a small trail of blood upon the ground that was never seen again. He sat and he played by the side of the sea. And people would come and people would go. But then one day he said, "That is very good. How can I do that?" "Well, close your eyes, climb upon my back, and I will take you to the lower kingdom, and I will tell you this. The king of the lower kingdom has a daughter, and she is truly beautiful, and he loves her very much, but the thing is this. The only daughter that I love so much, I am a man of my word, you saved my son, and now you shall have her as your wife. My own span, 6 times, and I will wrap it about my waist. Oh, and please, a bottle of fruit. I would like to have a bag of feathers, and also 1 hair of every colour of every man who lives in all of this world." Well, if you are the king of the lower kingdom, these things are but nothing to you. And these things smiled, for as soon as they were all inside, she pulled that chain and wrapped it about her waist, and the doors closed, and as the doors closed on the melted snow, all they could hear was them screaming, for they had got what it was that they wanted. And now there was a castle by the side of a black sea, and there was a daughter of a king.
He can't, because he's rather posh. He was from Desmond. He says, "You've got to have your own room, son." He says, you're 2.5 months old now, you grow up. He says, right, oh, Dad. So he puts him in his own room and he says, now Santa will be here in the morning, I want you to go to sleep now. And Mummy and Daddy are going back to our bedroom now. He says, I'm not very happy about this, like, roughly translated, oh dear, I'm feeling uncomfortable. And so he says, oh, that's lovely, I'm going. And he pulls the blankets up and he goes straight to sleep. Next morning, he woke up, and of course his dad was furious with him. He says, look, he says, Bernard, he says, look, he says,
just one last wish, and here the king was worried. He looked and he said, what is it? I would wish to play the violin. The king was worried. He thought that he would dance so much, and the queen spoke again. Your Majesty, please, let me tie you to a tree with a silk and silver cord, and then you cannot dance. And the king stood there, and she wrapped this cord about him, and he could not move, and now he spoke and said, play. And sure enough, Neil started to play the fiddle. Thank you very much indeed.